What's up guys, Sub-Zero here. So I saw this tweet from Tanner, who is this guy who posts a lot of stuff from the Chinese TFT community, talking about this player who just hit Challenger on the Chinese server. And if you even look at like the Korean server, like literally no one has hit Challenger yet. This person was over 500 LP, and this was earlier today. So he's climbed more since then. So I believe this is the rank 1 player in the entire world. Tanner calls him YiFang, so I guess that's what I'll call him, but, you know, I don't know his real name. He also showed his match history, which is really, really interesting. A lot of flexing around bruisers, or honestly, like, not even flexing, kind of like hard forcing bruisers with Soraka carry, and if you get a bruiser spat, it goes on Soraka because she scales with HP. Obviously, some, like, Zed stuff in here, but, like, boom, bruisers game with Jax Soraka duo carry, bruisers game with Jax Soraka duo carry, Jax 3 Soraka carry. So I wanted to check out some of his VODs, found his Douyu channel. However, he doesn't have VODs enabled, but I VOD recorded some of his games, so we are going to go over those right now. So this is one of the games I recorded, one of the games where he does actually play this Bruisers variant. So I wanted to see actually how he ends up playing it. So let's get right into it. He goes for the sword start on Carousel, which makes a decent amount of sense. We can actually go check what items he pryos on Jax, because he really prioed the BT, looks like it. So BT in each of these games, BT here. Seems like he has a BT, and it's this build of Jax that a lot of people have talked about recently. BT, Gwinsu's, and Quicksilver, but obviously some variants every once in a while, but looks like he really prioritizes BT, Gwinsu, Quicksilver, and then other stuff when you hit it, basically. But probably thinks BT, Gwinsu, Quicksilver is BIS. Obviously can. And he actually really likes Guard Breaker, which is pretty interesting. And then Soraka items seem like they're whatever is left over. You know, this one completely different. But, you know, in general, healing item on Jax, sort of defensive item, probably damage item. All right, so we start Renekton with Sword. Let's see where we go from there. And oh my god, okay, so now I know why it's a Jax game. Jax out of Orb immediately. So now we can actually see this board from a scenario where he at least high rolls the early Jax, which definitely changes the game up a bit. Buys out both the bruisers, of course. You can also hold the Wukong here, but I wonder if he actually prioritizes getting in mech. A lot of players have said that early mech is often a bait, unless you're in a very specific scenario where you're hyper carrying Jax, which we might this game, we'll see. There's another sword. I wonder what he does with the second sword. Could be like BT Giant Slayer. Oh my god, he hits the Vi as well. So we can actually have 4 bruisers in at 4? My god. What a start. Okay. So a bit of a high roll game, but I'm interested to see, well, at least a high roll opener, right? 4 bruisers is very, very strong. We'll see if he actually ends up with a strong item that he can build at the start here, because I don't think Deathblade seems very good. Yeah, and Giant's build is probably fine, can be a tank item. I'd be interested to see if he builds Zeke's here. Oh, so he gets offered AFK. He gets offered the Spellslinger one, which I doubt he will take. He could also take CB here. I'm interested between AFK and this one. I think AFK is a very strong augment. You're probably already building healing anyway. You don't have like the most insane, like you have no upgrades, so you could actually take AFK and like win a few, lose a few, and make some money. Definitely want to put Renekton on the leftmost slot if you pick AFK so that it goes in automatically at level 4. And I wouldn't even be mad about slamming Zeke's here, because you don't really want this second sword that much. Yeah, it looks like he's positioning just Zeke's Vi, and then really, really need Renekton to be in this leftmost slot, I would imagine, unless you're playing a lot. Okay, yeah. Move the Renekton over there, because you're going to naturally level up to level 4 after 2 combats, or yeah, after 2 combats. So you're going to want the Renekton to naturally come in, because it will pull the leftmost unit in your shop, so, or in your bench. So if you don't play AFK, that is something that you gotta do. It'll be interesting also to see what he ends up playing against, because I think the brawler line has become really popular. I was watching Soju stream today, and he was leaking the tech, showing the tweet from Tanner on literally just this guy's, and Soju is actually playing a board similar to this, so I think definitely the tech is out, but we can actually gain something from watching his individual games. There's only so much you can gain from seeing his end game board, but, you know, learning what he actually does in the early game and the mid game is really, really crucial as well. So I think we can get the edge watching his VODs as opposed to just looking at his late game board. So obviously AFK here doesn't actually do that much scouting. He's actually just chilling here. I don't know if he's doing anything specifically. I know I cut the audio for some of these VODs because he's just talking in a language that I can't understand, so it doesn't really add much for me. All right, this is a Gadgetean opener with Ezreal with Morello and a tier. So this person's looking for the Zoe board, I imagine. I've seen actually a lot of people in China, like I was watching some Shunga, do the Zoe board, the Gadgetean Zoe board that I talked about, but it seems like Shunga was like much more interested in actually re-rolling for the board, hitting like Zoe 3 and capping out that way, as opposed to how I saw some North American players playing it, like Beppo, who was just playing it and using it to fast 9. So interested to see what maybe that player ends up doing as well. Just want to absorb as much of the Chinese meta as possible, because I mean, yeah, they're the best region by far, by far. Someone in the lobby named DRX Deft. I doubt it's actually Deft, though. Interesting. I don't know if you guys saw, but did you guys see that Bwippo has been playing TFT recently and getting like really high ranked? He's been in like Soju's games recently. I forget what his name is. It's something. It's like something. Well, if you go to like Bwippo's stream, all of his VODs are just him playing TFT. All right. There's actually gonna be a bad loss to a level 5 player. We can't kill a single unit here, which is... Oh no, we actually killed one. Nice. All right, so 88 HP, 3 losses. Great, honestly. Those other 2 fights were really good losses. I wonder if he looks to slam BT here immediately. I guess it depends on the cost of the unit. I wonder also if there's a Jax on Carousel, if you just prioritize getting that. He is only second pick here. He's clicking by so fast. There's a Riven with Cloak as well, which you could even think about just holding on to. I have to imagine it's the Riven with Cloak here, but I wonder if you even... I mean, you already have 4 Bruiser. You probably just sell the Riven and build BT, right? I'd have to imagine, but he can also just play for loss streak here, right? He's already lost the first 3. He should definitely scout his opponents and see if it's possible to lose the next 2 without taking much of damage. But I mean, boom, that's Renekton too. You could just play Riven here. You could play anything else, really. Yeah. Levels up for Riven here and adds Wukong for Defender. That looks good. And still manages to make 30 gold. Definitely holds on to the Blitzcrank pair, though. Like I was talking about, he really likes leaning into admin, and we'll be able to actually check out what the admin he picks is, because that's something I was really curious about. That's obviously not something you can see from a post-game match history. It's interesting also that he, opts to level here and not play for Lost Streak. He's playing more tempo with that upgrade. I mean, it's a very strong early board, so I think that makes a lot of sense. But we could have also seen him just play for the full Lost Streak, but looks like he wants to play for a strong board. It makes sense with the Zeke Slam, with the Riven, and I'm wondering when he actually ends up selling this Riven. Does he wait until he finds another one? I mean, you could always even hold on to it. He also, I saw him earlier play a game of Kaiser Reroll, so this isn't like the only comp he plays. It might be actually that he's branched out more now that people are catching on to the tech. But I saw him play Kaiser Reroll. I have a VOD of him playing Camille Reroll that I'd really like to watch. That might be the one we do after this one. So a lot of cool stuff to watch. I really like having the Zeeks on Vi because you always want it next to the Jax. All right, this person just playing a normal loss streak, angle 72 HP. So we're going to be able to 2-streak at the end of this stage with AFK with 40 gold. Honestly, a really good spot. Next thing I'm really curious about is how much he rolls at 3-2, if at all. His board's pretty strong already, but he hasn't really naturaled any upgrades. Also curious what he ends up... Oh my god, another Jax? Now you really feel like happy to roll. We can also get admin in here. You could just level for admin. Whoa, he ended up... The unit that he sold there was the Wukong. Interesting. I wonder why. I mean, yeah, I don't think you really need to prio mech that early, especially if you don't have carry items. They can be QSS as well. Oh, so Cloak is really nice in this comp for QSS and for BT, right? Interesting, interesting. You could even get in Underground here, but it's a bit late to get it in. So, yeah. I thought I turned off those little text streaming across the top. I don't know, it's kind of fun, so I guess it's fine. Double Alistar shop. So he's going to level here and immediately roll it down Vi 2. Okay. So he hits Vi 2, keeps rolling down, and boom, it's Lee Sin. Okay, and he's done here. 34 gold left. So rolling down just for 6 bruisers and any upgrades that he can hit. He had the Jax pair and the Blitzcrank pair as well, so I think it makes perfect sense to roll down here. And now his board looks really, really strong, right? 6 bruiser in at 3-1. The only issue with this board is a lack of damage, right? You have no scaling on Jax. You'd love like a Gwynsu's on him. And you still can't get the BT onto him because the Cloak is stuck on Riven. Interesting to see Hero Augment here because if it's a 3-cost augment, if it's a Jax augment, you are over the moon. Oh my god. Yeah. And that's That's Jax's. This is the carry Jax hero augment where he gets scaling attack speed. So I mean, yeah, you have to snap take that. Oh my god, that's so good. It makes Jax 2. You'd really like to get the BT onto him now, but the problem is you can't sell Ribbon and lose the cloak. I don't think the JG slam is it. I mean, he hasn't done it yet, so I guess the only question is hitting Jax 2 going to make a difference? But like, look at that. Oh my god, there's so many people playing this comp actually. Seems like so many people caught on after watching him play it a bit. Like, I think he's 3-way contested, so it's pretty unlikely that he's going to be able to hit Jax 3 this game. Just going to end up playing around Jax 2 the entire game. Almost covered the Ionic Spark Slam there, but there's no shot that you slam that, right? Yeah. And I mean, the Jax 2, there's a ton of work on backline. This is a Zoe 2 with Morello's blue buff and a GS and double bubble, so yeah, she's going to, I mean, it seems like in China they stabilize so hard on 3-2. Even last set, which I didn't think was that much, though I guess towards the end of the set it was. All right. And admin here is also really important. So let's check this out. See what this ends up being. All right. At the beginning of the battle, admin get 50 mana. Every 5 seconds, your team gets 10% attack speed. When an ally is killed, admin get 20% attack speed. I mean, it's got, like, the middle one's insane for this comp, no? With this comp, it seems like you really, I mean, it makes logical sense. You really, really want an admin that doesn't actually benefit admin, that benefits your entire team, right? Because Jax isn't an admin. Though you can play more into admin and then end up playing around Soraka carry late game. That's another opportunity. So, but I mean, I think in this case, yeah, you absolutely have to take the scaling one. Though he obviously, like, he only put it in just to check admin. He's not going to play it here because the power spike of 6 bruisers is too much. So this is actually a really close fight, but once again, versus a Vayne 2 with Edge of Night, like, he's actually going to lose. It's so insane that he actually lost 2 fights with this board, insanely upgraded with the Jax hero augment and 6 bruiser, but it just goes to show, like, how much people stabilize on their boards in China. Oh my god. Okay, so bow for Gwynsu would obviously be incredible. We could also take another cloak for QSS/BT. So I'd have to imagine it's one of those if we can get it. If not, maybe you could look for... No, you really want to build BT, so then what would you build? I mean, you could look for, like, tier for... Ooh, yeah, so those are both taken. So his items actually look kind of rough here. I'm curious what he takes. Like, maybe Giant's Belt just for a generic tank item. You could also take Glove and just end up building Hodge. The problem is then, like... I mean, you could always build, like, Gunblade, but I really like the scaling of the Gwynsu. So you could take Hodge, make it, like, Hodge, Gunblade, but then, like, what does the sword become? Hodge is the most slammable item here. Unless there's something else. Right? Yeah. I'd have to imagine Hodge is the slam here. I can't think of any other slam that makes much sense. Not gonna go, like, Archangels. Yeah. Alright, so we're just gonna go for the Hodge here. I think? Yeah. Thought about the JG for a sec, but not really. All right, I mean, this admin seems so good. It seems like such an insane spot. I'm so surprised that he's on a 2-loss streak here. But he is very, very wealthy because of the AFK. So 32 gold here is nice. This guy is going for the JG version, the JG Titans version of the Jax. But it's actually so fortunate. Our Jax just auto-targets it. This guy is also so, like, low HP. The ideal situation is that this guy dies, puts all the Jaxes back in the pool, and then we're chilling. He's also playing around the A-Soul, so it's possible that he just sells the Jax, moves the JG, but then what are you doing with, like, Titans? I'm not sure, because I feel like the Jax items are pretty specific to Jax. Like, there aren't too many other units that can carry those items, like, maybe, like, Zed, depending on which item, but, like, a lot of them not that insane on, like, another unit. But alright, let's see what we do. It's... Mecha Levine is very fierce. But yeah, I believe with this board, he doesn't actually end up playing a lot of mech. He really just goes for the Soraka, and then I'm actually not sure what level 8 is here. Because Soraka, you can just replace LeBlanc with Soraka, and then you just add, I don't know, some good unit, like an Alistar or something. He's holding on that Vel'Koz. Maybe it's Vel'Koz in at 8. But yeah, I mean, he has to go fast 8 from this spot, right? We saw at least one other person with Jax. That might have been 2 other people with Jax, now that I think about it. So you just go fast 8 in tempo from this spot and hope that all the other Jax players die, and then you can go roll for Jax at level 8. Oh my god, 5 Jax is naturaled? Oh, it's such a shame that it's contested. Like, if this was uncontested Jax, it's so illegal. Like, if people in your games are not in on this Jax tech yet. Like, I think you can farm LP. It's also interesting. I guess the cloak just becomes... I mean, it could still become QSS, right? You need another Riven, though. His items aren't that insane, actually. Because, like, this tier now doesn't do that much, and Guinsoo is okay. I think you would want QSS here. I would love, like, QSS Guinsoo, but the problem is we have this sword stuck on Jax. Oh, I'm really curious what he ends up building here. You could build Locket, but then you lose the Guinsoo component. Like, what do you really want to build out of sword here, other than, like, a Giant Slayer, perhaps? Yeah, the items seem really rough here. This is actually quite scary. You could go, like, Gargoyles, Gun... I don't know. Like, GS is the only thing I can really think of going on this Jax, but it's such an offensive item. You can't even build Titans here. I don't know what you slam in this position. Yeah, these items actually ended up being very rough. Yeah, I'm very curious, because what would I slam in this scenario, actually? I'd probably... Well, do you even want to roll? Because you want to find a replacement Riven so you can build QSS. I think QSS is your best build. You could even build it on Riven right now. I guess I would go like QSS and then build a Protector's Vow and just put it on one of my tanks, like Bai or something. Ideally like Sejuani later, so maybe you put it on someone you're thinking about cutting, like Renekton. I think that's what I would do, but it's... Okay, so he does actually roll at 7. Nothing too special yet. Really digging for there's the replacement Riven. So, okay, he does build BT. So the double healing item. Okay, interesting. And that's just what he wanted to roll for. Okay, and he's going to build the Locket. Interesting. So no, doesn't care about the Guinsoo angle. We already have the stacking attack speed, so they do like kind of scale off each other, right? But he says, okay, I have enough attack speed. But like, yeah, the problem is there's just no... Like, the double healing is all in good, but you'd really love something like a Titans on this Jax so that he actually is tanky. Whereas, like, right now, he just heals up a lot, but if he ever gets CC'd, he's just going to get one shot. And neither of these items, you know, build into Titans. So, I'm interested to see what he does. Alright, threat level maximum. You could take Knife's Edge, or you could take Portable Forge. What do you really want for Jax? You could take, like, Anima Visage and just make him very tanky and healy. You could take like Infinity Force. I don't actually know how good Infinity Force is on Jax. This it's usually good on these type of units like Jax. Defiance, right? But it's triple healing. It's this is a very strange Jax build, but I think it makes sense. I'm so afraid that this Jax will die. At least he has all these support items, right? Like the shield will help make him a bit tankier. I really wish we had like a Titans instead of Hodge, or like a Titans instead of either of these items that aren't Death's Defiance. Like Death's Defiance, Titans, Guinsoo, I'd be over the moon in this spot, but triple healing, the problem is you just end up over healing so much. But I mean, I thought the QSS was better, so I'm interested on this double heal. But I mean, like, I can definitely see the double healing angle. BT is obviously a very good item on him. But yeah, he just ends up getting shredded. Oh, and look at the board that he's fighting, by the way. Literally... And I'm sorry that, whatever this program is, VLC does this sometimes. Literally this exact board we were talking about, this Bruiser plus Soraka board. So it's already, like, really, really catching on in China. So it might already be infecting your games when you get onto live. But at least having an understanding for the type of admins to take, the type of itemizations for Jax, will definitely give you an advantage over other people who are just spamming the build, trying to get free LP. Also, understanding of when to push levels and when to look for Jax 3. Obviously, in this lobby, it's very contested. This person has 8 Bruiser, so that's at least 2 people contesting it, it looks like. So, no Jax 3 angle. So the tech may be out of the bag, at least in high-low in China. Oh my god, that guy is Mordekaiser, too. The thing with players like this who climb a lot using one build, it's often... Like, you can climb a lot because the build is uncontested, but as it gets more contested, you have to branch out, right? You can very easily force a build that no one's contesting, but once everyone contests it, it becomes a lot harder to force it. They both have the stacking Jax augment, but our Jax is much stronger. So, like I was saying, best case scenario, I think this game, you just look to go 8 after this carousel, and then you hope the other Jax players die before you, and you can just roll for Jax 3 once they're both dead. But... we'll see how long he lives. I don't know what these... Like, TG, I guess, is a strong slam here, I'd have to imagine. Redemption also looks really good. You could also just play a Leona, but like pretty much everything was taken. I would look at Redemption here. He goes for another tier. I guess for the Soraka itemization, that makes sense. Okay, so yeah, he immediately prioritizes Soraka items. He already has enough tank items, so yeah, he's just gonna look for Soraka. There's a that goes in over that, really interesting. I was thinking of Renekton, but I mean, Renekton 2 at least. And I guess you don't really care about Lee Sin until you hit Soraka. I'm interested here in the. Okay, yeah, I would say I feel like the Leona has to come in here. And what did he end up selling for it? That unit down there was his admin. Interesting. He prios the Vel'Koz over admin? I'm surprised about that. I mean, he just makes the read. Look at this lobby. It's all Jax carry and Viego carry, except for that one person who's doing Jax Soraka double carry, but it's a lot of single unit carry. So I think this makes a lot of sense. I think Vel'Koz is a very underappreciated unit. I was looking at someone really high low in NA's match history, and they had like Vel'Koz in like 10 of their last 20 games. Like, I think this unit might actually be better than people are giving it credit for. And yeah, he even sells the Jax here. He says, there's no way I'm hitting Jax 3 this game. I just need to stabilize to potentially live and play for a top 4 in such a contested lobby. So this is really interesting. I think we were obviously seeing so many people spamming this build. I think it's very, very strong. But, you know, obviously when it's turbo contested, it gets worse. So really interesting. All right, here's the Zoe build. And looks like this person, I surely can't see what level they are, but that's 8 units in. So they went level 8, but they do have a Zoe on bench. They might look for Zoe 3. We'll see. But they prioritize going 8, which is interesting. With all these Jaxes of the pool, you could say you can just roll at 7 for Zoe 3. But maybe they just missed. They didn't hit a lot of Zoes, and they wanted to play for just max cap at level 8 and then roll down. It's definitely interesting. Okay. Yeah, but we don't even need this Jax anymore. I'm curious if he hits Soraka, if he plays it over Leona, because the problem is that you have the blue buff on the Leona now. So, like, it's not like you can sell the Vel'Koz and then play Leona plus Soraka. I mean, you could, but the Soraka would have no items. Oh, that bow is pretty useless. I guess maybe you can build Titans for a frontliner or, like, Z-Rod or something. What would you prefer here? There's a lot of options here. TG, Z-Rod seems not great. It's either TG or Hodge. I think I prefer Hodge. There's not that many good units to TG. Like, Riven's actually quite solid. But I think you're lacking damage with this board. I think it's Hodge. And you can just go blue buff Hodge, and that eventually goes on Soraka. I wouldn't be that surprised if it was TG. If it's anything else, like Guardbreaker doesn't really make sense. Static Shiv, I would be surprised at. I mean, I guess it's not horrible. But yeah, it doesn't even make the Jax here. It says I'm not going to have enough gold to hit everything. I really just need to roll down. Yeah, I think that makes perfect sense. He does go the Static Shiv. Interesting. Okay. I mean, Leona's true damage, but Jax is magic damage from his ability. So it makes some amount of sense. Okay. I think it's definitely reasonable, of course. But yeah, that's a really interesting play. The Static Shiv on the Vel'Koz. Leona actually deletes. Oh my god. Could we win this fight? The Z2. Oh my god. The Vel'Koz does so much work here. Like, the only reason this fight was anywhere near close was because of Vel'Koz. But he is taking some bad fights. Everyone else is... Oh, so look how close this lobby is. Holy moly. 5 people below 20 HP and the next person at 21. The top 2 is pretty secure there. But everyone else is, like, just about to die. And he's just rolling it to 0, digging for, I guess, Soraka. I guess he'd prefer... But I actually really like seeing this Leona here. So if you completely miss on Soraka, Leona can just be your sort of AP carry with your Soraka items. Ooh, and he clumps down here for... Is it for the Jax matchup? Is that who he scouted right before this? That'd be really interesting. It is. Okay. And for the Zed. I think he's mostly doing it for the Zed so he can just catch the Zed. It's not even that bad in the Jax matchup as well. It's kind of like the old Chiyoyu Mirror matchup where you really want their Jax to come and aggro onto your front line, and then you want your Jax to walk up and aggro onto their Jax. So putting your Jax on the final row means that, like, look at... Where's Jax? Yeah. Exactly like this, right? Their Jax ends up aggroing on your Sejuani, and your Jax ends up aggroing on theirs, which will give you some extra damage on theirs. The only problem is they have a Soraka too. So I wonder if it's enough. I guess we'll see. Good Leona ult. We're gonna end up killing their Jax first, but the question is, like, Archangel Soraka, are we able to actually get through that? And the MF too, holy moly. They're just throwing in a bunch of AP carry. It's like I said in my MF video, like this MF unit, you just play this unit with no synergies. Oh my god, this Vel'Koz unit in late game fights. I need to start teching Vel'Koz too into my late game boards. Like, holy moly. This unit's actually so good. Okay, 2 people dead. So if both of those people die, we top 4. Okay, interesting. Oh my god, he actually hit Soraka 2 here. Okay, I'm down for it. Yeah, just Soraka 2 here with blue buff. Okay, so he does prefer to play Soraka over there over... I mean, definitely Soraka 2. I would have been interested to see if he would have played Soraka 1 over it. But Soraka 2, definitely strong. Okay, Hacker Zoe... But she's just going to aggro over onto her Vel'Koz, and her Jax isn't going to aggro onto her. Maybe he will not. Oh, that's so good. But then she pranksters away, of course. Of course. Okay. Oh, the problem with this board is there's just so much front line. Yeah, it's just too hard. Their board is way too strong. Oh my god, we're dead? Oh my god, and tied for a 4th. Okay, that was a really, really interesting game to watch. Really good to get into his mind and see how he plays out this comp. And you can already see it dominating on the Chinese server, so... If it's not being spammed on NA today, get your free LP. All right, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please interact with it in some way, like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed. And also check out the link to my Twitch channel down below where I'm live some of the time. All right, I'll catch you guys later. Bye.